Welcome back to Leaders Live. I'm Charlie Stevens, your host. We had a real solid episode last week with Matt Rangel, founder and CEO of Bank Novo. Key takeaways: be relentless with your relationships and just keep going. If you continue to keep going, you'll outpace others who have stopped. Today, we're on 17th Street, let's get that right, at the Techstars office to meet with Lio Slama, CEO and founder of SquarePlan, AI real estate management tool on the 9th floor of 50 West 17th Street. Let's go. Welcome back to Leaders Live. Charlie Stevens, your host, here with CEO founder Lio Slama. SquarePlan, awesome new real estate technology, intelligent real estate management tool, software, everything, all the above, the future, right? I would say that. Live from the Techstars office. Leo is a part of the class of 2019 Techstars group, which is awesome. So they're here on 17th Street making a splash. But before we get into Leo and his story, how he's taken over real estate technology, why are we doing this, understand how industry leaders operate. Once we, the viewers, myself, can understand how you operate, what you're trying to do, what your business does, and who you're trying to meet, then we could hopefully insert you into relationships, and that could build our relationship more than, I don't have all the answers, but hopefully this is the, a piece in the puzzle somewhere along the line that I can fit in, and then we can build together. That's it. That's my intro. All right, pretty good? All right, good stuff. To Leo now. You are, I'd say, almost an overachiever. At 25, you were the head of a architectural firm, an architectural engineer out of Geneva, Switzerland, very impressive, Columbia grad. I mean, you got tons of accolades. Before SquarePlan, the real estate technology company, walk us back a little bit. Switzerland, you were the founder of a couple companies. Bring us back a little bit, give some context, how this all started.
To give you some context, I can tell you, first of all, since I'm a kid, I was passionate about science fiction.
Okay.
And buildings. So what does that mean? It means like movies and books like Minority Report, I, Robot, Paycheck. All those movies come from American science fiction writers from the 50s and 60s. Mm-hmm. And so since I'm a kid, I was always passionate about science fiction, buildings, the way we interact with the built environment, and the United States as well. And since I'm 10 years old, I wanted to move to New York and to become an architect. And I didn't necessarily understood what it meant back in the day, but that's what I wanted.
This is back when you were in France.
Back when I grew up in France. I was like 10, 12-year-old back in the
World
day.
traveler, by the way. You put that on there as well.
I've seen a bunch of countries since then. And so naturally I became an architect. I had my first job here in New York, actually. And then I went to Switzerland because I wanted to have an impact. And so I became the head architect for the International Labour Organization in Switzerland, and I was extremely lucky because I was able to apply what I'm passionate about, which is nonlinear design.
Yeah.
You can Google it. It's very philosophical, very intellectual. Not gonna get into that right now, but to a real project, which is the part of the UN in Switzerland. And after that, with some of my friends who are engineers or designers in Switzerland and in France, I founded a few different companies.
Real estate related companies, right?
Architecture and real estate, right, okay. Yeah. And back in the day, I had no idea we were trying to do a startup. I had no idea of fundraising. I had no idea of scaling up. I had no idea of that. Mm-hmm. And we made a bit of money, but it was more of consulting businesses at the end of the day, right? The difference between a consulting business and a startup is that consulting, you cannot really scale it up like quickly, right? A startup, you can scale it up quickly. And so after that, I was like, I need to go back to New York because that's still my dream. That was still my dream, and so that's how it happened. Yeah. Thank you. It's good to be back. Yeah.
So through that crazy journey, Geneva, doing the startups, the architecture, real estate, everything, give us some lessons learned, maybe some key people that were involved that you take away and bring with you today.
Sure. Well, as I said, we were building businesses, but I had no idea how to scale that up.
Yeah.
So lesson learned is you need a network. And I know we're going to talk about that in a few
Strong
minutes.
network, yeah.
And so that's why I went to Columbia University when I came back to this country. Because I was like, you know what? I know no one in New York. That was about 5 years ago now, or 4 years ago. I need a network. And what best than going to Harvard or Columbia to get a network?
Sure.
And so that's what I did. And after that, you need a network, you need ideas. I'm a designer. My uncle always say, you're an artist, like you cannot fool anyone. So on the design and creative side, I was never worried. But then you have to understand what it means to fundraise, what it means to hire and fire people. Lesson learned from Switzerland and my past experiences, I learned the hard way how to hire and fire people as well. I love doing HR now at SquarePlan, but you need to learn all those things. It doesn't come naturally.
Yeah, absolutely. We're here at SquarePlan right now. We're at Techstars talking SquarePlan. The inception of SquarePlan, you saved some old woman's life, I believe, something like that. Why don't you tell us how that happened? You're a superhero, basically.
I don't know if I saved her life. No, so at the beginning, when I was still at Columbia University, I was living on Upper West Side in a big residential building.
Yeah.
And one night, my 75-year-old neighbor got stuck in the trash room on the 19th floor, my floor. And so I managed to open the door for her and free her, but...
Superhero.
See, I know how to open doors that are broken.
Pretty good.
That's it, I'm a superhero. And then, and she asked me, she was petrified, right? And she was really scared. And she asked me, can you take care of it? Like, can you make sure the door gets fixed? I was like, yeah, sure, don't worry, I'll take care of it. And long story short, it took us 8 days to get the door fixed, talking to the property managers, the landlords, the superintendents, going to the resident portal, trying to create a profile and find the right person to talk to.
8 days for one door.
Yeah, spoiler alert, when you sublease, it's even more difficult, whatever, you know? And so just for one door, it took us 8 days.
Yeah.
And at the end of those 8 days, I was like, I was always frustrated with the way we interact with the built environment and the city since I'm a kid. I'm passionate about technology, not just buildings. This is it, like I have to do something out there. There is a clear problem. And all the software or resident portals in place today do not really solve the problems that I just described. And so that's how it started, basically.
Right. So what was the next steps? I mean, you wanted to connect the technology with the real estate, making the communication better. You started the team, kind of walk us through that. What exactly services are you providing right now? What is exactly SquarePlan right now as it stands?
There was a huge evolution of SquarePlan. First, we started with residential, multifamily residential. Right now, I can tell you that we're getting more and more inbound prospects from commercial, office buildings, malls, healthcare centers and hospitals, and other commercial as well. But that's what's happening right now. So what we do is, most of the clients and prospects we work with, it's really interesting because real estate people, real estate managers are not bad people. They just don't have the means of communication or the task force to answer everyone in a timely manner or track everything in a timely manner neither, right? Because there's a lot of animosity between tenants and owners or operators, whether it's residential and commercial. But what we discovered is that those clients, those owners, operators, those facility managers, they're always concerned with the time-consuming task to communicate with tenants, the back and forth. They're really worried about the cash flow, their margins. They sometimes feel trapped with the new regulations, not just in New York, but regulations always evolve. And they cannot know what's going on site or off-site with all the in-house or outsourced providers that they have. Right. It's impossible to track tasks and stuff like this. And so what's happening is it creates a huge amount of uncertainty. And this uncertainty, it's easy to talk about saving time and money, but when you get to those uncertainties, you really understand that those owner-operators are trying to do good, but they can't. And all those portals, software that do everything between dog walking and rent collection and everything in between, they're great, but they just digitize processes. They do not automate processes, and they do not bring any real business intelligence for you. So they don't really solve your problem of all the uncertainties that we described, or even they don't really make you more efficient. So that's what we decided to do at SquarePlan. Like, not just mimic the other property or facility management software, but really bring something that doesn't exist today.
Yeah, talk about the intelligence a little bit more. I mean, you call yourself an intelligent real estate management tool. Right? I mean, how is it? We got a little AI mixed in there, but talk about the intelligence and how you're growing with that.
So AI is a very buzzy word, and I use it very specifically for some processes. First of all, we automate the communication between tenants or the users of a building and the facility managers or the owners, operators. What we do is first of all, it doesn't matter which platform or software you use today, we adapt to anything. We have an API. And we give a phone number, a regular phone number, local phone number to the tenants and the users. And the tenants can text, call, or WhatsApp the number. You do not have to download any app. You do not have to log into any portal. Mm-hmm. You really have to understand that implementing a new system in real estate is very difficult. It's time consuming, it's a lot of training and energy. With SquarePlan, there's no training and it gets implemented instantly. Why? We give a phone number to tenants, we text them usually, and that's it. If you want emails or a web bot as well, we use chatbots, by the way, it's fine too, especially for commercial. We get this question more and more. We have that too. So that's for the tenant side or the user side. And then on the other side, we have a full enterprise dashboard where you can track everything in real time. And I'm not going to describe all the features we have, but we are able to route inquiries to the right person at the right time, right? Yep. If an elevator is not working, typically 40, 50, 100 people are going to complain about it. They're going to call, they're going to text, they're going to WhatsApp, they're going to email. Well, we create automatically through SquarePlan a one-line item on your dashboard for the elevator. And guess what? You can include the elevator company, because if you have to repair an elevator, it has to be the elevator company, and it sends a notification automatically, an email, for example, to the elevator company. And you can track everything in real time there are a lot of automated notifications back to the people who ask for the question as well. Could be about maintenance, about lease, about noise complaints.
Getting things done quickly though.
Anything.
Solid product, solid service.
Yeah.
You just raised seed round as well.
Yeah.
Talking about a little bit about the growth. We like to talk about growth, companies growing. Yeah. What are you going to do with that money? How are you going to implement it? How are you taking it to the next step?
When you conceptualize around, you think about the current situation. And now I can tell you that not only we hired more people, we have an amazing team, and we just got into Techstars, but I can tell you that we are doubling down. We're really developing the business intelligence part, where I talked about the automation, but business intelligence is also day-to-day and long-term data analytics, and we are able to show you a lot of key performance indicators. The HVAC should be revised here.
I think to rebalance it. I think that's
and so basically data analytics is key. All of our clients want to see exactly time to resolution, right? Time to solve requests per property, per city, sometimes per unit, per type of request, or per staff member. Staff performance to create accountability in real estate management is a key performance indicator that everybody is asking for.
Mm-hmm. Solid. As we move into the networking, the collaboration part of this, which is the exciting part, I think. Mm-hmm. How are you growing your network? How are you, expanding? You talked about how important network, is. How are you doing that? Well,
let me tell you something. Let me take 10 seconds to thank all my friends who in New York and around the world helped SquarePlan grow since day one. Day one, I was alone in my little room on the Upper West Side, helping my neighbor, and they help make introductions or give me some feedback, right? Since day one, and without waiting anything for anything in return. And here's my take on that. I think that developing genuine relationships with anyone you're meeting with, whether a potential client, potential investor, potential accelerator, potential employee or collaborators, it will happen great, like something great will happen if you're genuine about what you're doing and because then it's a match. Otherwise, it's not. So the way I network is you need to make friends, but real friends. You can't network. There's no such thing as networking, right? And that's how we built SquarePlan actually. Like we bootstrapped for almost 2 years with no money,
right?
Thanks to all these friends, and that's really, really important. Now I could talk about, how we learn how to, make friends and strategic investors and all this. But you have that on a lot of blogs. But make genuine connections with people, and something will happen. Or maybe we'll just be friends. But I think it's very important.
It's a good way to live, at least.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what's behind us right here, Techstars, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about the collaboration, the network of Techstars. What we talked about before. 90% of the companies that come through here are successful, which is fantastic. I mean, tell us about the power of Techstars, how they're helping you.
So we're about halfway in the program right now. Demo day is on September 27th at the Shed, Hudson Yards.
Nice. Yeah,
it's gonna be huge. And then Techstars, honestly, it's been amazing, very intense. And when you apply, there's an acceptance rate of 0.7%, I think. Mm-hmm. There's a question that comes back all the time. Is Techstars, like the Y Combinator, all those large accelerators around the world, just a brand or just becoming a brand, or is this really an accelerator that's gonna help you tremendously during your journey? Well, let me tell you something. It's absolutely not just a brand. It's been very intense for us. We've been meeting incredible people. An accelerator really accelerates. So it's up to you and your company and your team, whatever you want to achieve, it's up to you, right? You want to meet with that guy or that prospect, like you have to ask for it and you have to make sure you're ready for it.
Yeah.
So this is an amazing accelerator. There's an amazing mentor network that we leverage and we start to leveraging. When you get into these kind of accelerators, and it's kind of the same with anyone you're meeting at the end of the day, you have to understand it's not just for 3 months, which is the length of the program, it's for life and it's just the beginning. So I think that's the really important, it's like going to Columbia University, like I did, it's just when you go there, it's just the beginning, there's a whole network opening to you afterwards, the years and years afterwards the program.
It's the long road, not just thinking about, right.
And that goes back to what I said about building relationship.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen in one day. Anything you do, you have to build a relationship and build friendship. Yeah.
What type of relationships are you looking to build? What type of clients maybe you're looking to collaborate with, that someone's watching this that can reach out to you? What type of people are you looking to grow with?
I think we have a lot of clients who are not very tech savvy, but they feel left behind because they know that their competitors are leveraging technology better than them. And then at some point, in a year, 2 years, 5 years from now, it goes so fast today, they're gonna be really left behind, and it's gonna be bad in terms of competition for them. They might disappear. So we're happy to, don't be afraid of AI or new technologies. Like, if you feel left behind or you really want to do something in technology but you're not sure how, let us know. We're happy to help. I'm happy to help. And then the second type of companies we're working with is companies who are very, not necessarily tech savvy, but who really like new technology or new solutions. But all of them, whether you're tech savvy or not, all of them share the same struggle in terms of being in the dark, in terms of operations.
Yeah.
Not being able to track anything or not a lot, and being worried about the next years to come. And so the type of companies we're looking to work with, I mentioned the commercial or multifamily residential real estate, but more and more we working with two other types of organizations. One is facility management departments in large organizations like investment banks or office buildings, but the facility management departments of those organizations. And two is what we call channel partners. For us, it's a lot and more of real estate marketplaces, organizations that match residents to apartments or tenants to commercial landlords, right? And we're talking to more and more of those organizations. They need SquarePlan because they need not just the facility management part, but they need to bring value to their clients as well, right? And so what best than SquarePlan to bring value because we bring a layer of business intelligence on top of your operations,
Right.
never seen before. So that's the other type of organization.
True value. We're going to do some Q&A. Mr. McIntosh has the mic, and if you have any questions, submit them, and if we don't get to them, my man Leo will answer them more than likely in the comments. So just throw them in the comments, watch it on the replay, still throw it in there, tag them. Mr. McIntosh, what do we have as questions?
Yeah, Leo, I just want to say, as a fellow guy who loves sci-fi, this first question is for me. I want to hear how your love for design and science fiction has impacted your work at SquarePlan.
There are two elements I can tell you. One, I designed the whole UX UI of SquarePlan. The whole website you see, the whole, not just the logo, but the whole, like the skyline, all this, I did it. That's the first thing I did actually. That's the first thing I worked in 2017. Not because I love that and I knew how to do that from architecture, but because I wanted to build a brand and an experience, both a brand and experience that is optimistic, positive, and that shows simplification. And so that's what I did first. And science fiction, listen, any startup does science fiction. We are going to prospects or clients telling them, hey, we're going to change your life, change your operations, or whatever we're doing. That's science fiction because it doesn't necessarily exist yet, right? And so science fiction is really, what I love about science fiction is anticipation. It's not fantasy, it's anticipation. It's what's probable. It's not necessarily good or bad, by the way. You need to be careful with what you do. There's a certain responsibility, especially when you build automation in an AI. And so the second element I would say about the AI itself is when you build a perfect system such as a chatbot with routing tasks to the right person at the right time, you have to be careful not to be frozen in time. Because when you build a perfect system, and Minority Report is great for that, you freeze a certain situation, a real life situation, and you need to be careful, you need to make sure that it can still evolve, right? And if you want to be literal, you talk about machine learning, but let's not be literal here. You need to be careful not to freeze things in time, if that makes sense.
You got to be careful too, because you don't want Skynet coming after you. A Terminator reference, if you want.
Cybersecurity is a big, question as well.
Trying to make things, John Connor, everything. Mike, take it away. You got another question? What do you got?
Yeah, no, that was really interesting. Love the idea of anticipation. So this question is from Lucas. His question is, what has been the most challenging obstacle that SquarePlan has had to overcome as a company thus far?
Solid question, Lucas.
The most challenging part of the company?
Something you've had to overcome. Maybe a hurdle or something like that.
Very clear question. Listen, the challenge changes all the time, right? When I started SquarePlan, the challenges were coming every 3 months. Now it's I think it's once a week, every week. And so I don't call that challenges, I call that glass ceilings. And you have to explode, you have to destroy the glass ceiling, right? And so I talk about glass ceilings because you are your own enemy. You, yourself as a founder, you need to explode those glass ceilings. And the way to do that is really first to acknowledge them, and then to go to the next stage with your team, your investors, your mentors, your advisors, your friends, just asking for help, right? And at first, usually in any startup, the challenge is the product. You have to build something and launch something, and then you evolve on the product. And I think we did a tremendous job on that. That was kind of easy for us because I come from product, I designed the product as well, so it's easy to work with engineers. Then you have to get proper usage, right? And then clients, and then you have to convince people to work with you with no money. That was a big challenge as well. And you're learning, and then you build up. It's a build up, and you have to explode those glass ceilings. Really, this is the most important.
I like that. Explode glass ceilings.
Explode them.
You should put motivational speaker as well on your superhero, motivational speaker, CEO, founder. One more? What you got? One more
All right,
question?
yeah, we've got one more. Knowing that your primary buyers are just not tech savvy, how are you able to communicate just your value proposition to them in your sales process?
It's a very good question. What we do usually is the way I approach a client is we talk about their operations, how they operate today. Larger organizations, usually have software, right? It's not the first time they buy software. But what we do is we make sure that we understand what they need, and they don't necessarily know what they need. They know there is a struggle somewhere. They know there is a problem. There are issues. They would love to improve accountability within their staff or outsource providers. They would love to provide a better service to the tenants. They would love to have bigger margins, but they're not sure how to do that. So that's the first step. Then we demo. And when we demo, there's something we call chatbot phase. When we demo our software, the chatbot on one side with the voice, we call the chatbot literally. And then it appears on the screen within a fraction of a second. And you see the whole automated routing and then the data analytics that's the consequence of the whole process is the chatbot phase. Chatbot phase is like, are you serious here? It's they realize you cannot talk about what you do, you have to demo. They realize all of a sudden all the processes that we automate for them and how amazing it's gonna become for them and their staff. How much more simple it's gonna become. More, not just more efficient, but we would bring them really peace of mind, and that's super important for them. Real estate management right now, I think it's not associated with peace of mind, and so we bring them this layer of peace of mind, really.
Like that chatbot phase. Pretty good. We'll end with your words to live by, personal mantra, ethos, something to kind of jack up some people, or how they operate the best, how you operate the best.
Listen, I think my personal mantra since a long time is resilience. You need to be resilient, whatever that means for you, by the way, because it's very personal at the end of the day. We all have our own contradictions. For me, it was traveling to more than 50 countries, Middle East, Southeast Asia, everywhere, to be honest. To really look at, people talk about some industries or countries or in a certain way. It's go see by yourself, but really alone, by yourself. So being resilient is a personal thing, but is the only way to explode glass ceilings, I think. Really.
Yeah, be resilient.
Yeah.
End off with a question or challenge we usually give for you to submit, but I have a challenge for basically the LinkedIn community, and I'm going to ask you, who is the number one person that maybe you think you want to meet in New York or whoever it may be? Then the challenge is almost for the community to try to connect you. They're adding value to you, hopefully, and this all works out. I don't know. We'll try it out. This is the first time, but is there somebody, and why do you want to meet them?
Listen, there's no one day where I don't think about my parents and grandparents. And I can call my parents every day and my two grandmothers every day. I call them at least once a week. And the reason for that is that it's all about the values you have and we can share together. And I can tell you, I always have them in mind in the morning, at night, whatever I'm doing. Sometimes you have to take a decision and you're like, is this the right decision or not? You think about your family or your parents or grandparents, you're like, yeah, okay, I know what to do, right? So there are certain people I met in the past few years in the US, not just in New York, who are part of this older generation of real estate owners and managers. And one of them is Robert Beal, which is an amazing friend of mine and a role model for me. One of the reasons he's amazing, but he treats everyone equally no matter what. And that's really something, I want to resemble him. That's what I want to do. And right now in New York, I would love to meet with Steve Ross from Related. Robert Beal is founder of Related Beal and his dad, obviously. And Steve Ross is, from Related.
Yep. Hudson Yards. Time Warner Center, East
Center.
Side,
Yeah.
the modern day Rockefeller, I like to say.
I mean,
Who's on top of my list too, but I'm not taking it away from you. It's easy. This is for you. Yeah.
but you know why? Because I'm an architect originally. I think Related really cares about the city and public space.
Yeah.
And they did an amazing. By the way, that was science fiction what they did with the Time Warner Center, or even Hudson Yards. Like, are you crazy building
Right.
a neighborhood there? But
Over rail yards?
it's
Like,
crazy.
come on.
But Time Warner was the same back in the day. There was nothing there. It was like not a good neighborhood. And so that was science fiction. And I think I have a lot of respect for Related and for people running Related. And I really like what they do, what they did and what they're still doing. So Steve Ross, I actually met him briefly, and I told him that years ago. I was still a student back in the day. It was a birthday party. And but I would love to meet him properly and have a discussion about real estate and technology.
Solid. So let's make that happen. Let's wrap this up. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Good time here at Techstars. We'll make this a once in a month thing, once in a week thing,
Yeah, you
every
should
day
definitely
thing.
come
We'll
back.
just work out here. All right, cool.
Thank you, my
Awesome.
friend.
Awesome. Nadal's
back
gonna roll
anytime.
it out. Yeah, right. We'll be working with you over here.
Yeah.
Happiness in music.